5? Yeah. I think 5 we have not done. Can you just scroll up and
Prabhuji, 5 also we've done,
I want to
Vrindavan.
see I want to see the text translation. Yeah. Yes, we did this. Yes. What is the translation of this text?
We did
This
Yamuna
also we
also.
did this. We did this also. We did this also. Yes, we did this also.
Yes.
8. This also we did. Yeah, I think this we have to do. This we have to do. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Masji, please go ahead.
Would Nanpatni Mataji read?
Hare Krishna Mataji, today I'm out somewhere. Can you read, please?
I can read if even if you have difficulty, I can read.
Okay.
Okay, text 9. If you can hear me clearly. Jayati Jayati Namananda Rupam Murarer Viramita Nijad Dharma Dhyana Pujadi Yatnam Katham Api Sakrid Atam Muktidam Praninam Yat Paramam Amritam Ekam Jivanam Bhushanam Me.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. All
All
glories, I can read. I'll try and read this, Prabhuji. The Sanskrit part. All glories to Lord Murari in the form of his all aesthetic name. If any living being puts aside such tasks as meditation, ritual worship, and social duties, and even once takes the Lord's holy name, the name will grant him liberation. That holy name is the greatest source of eternal pleasure and is my very life and ornament. Commentary. Among the various practices of devotional service, the most important is chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Chanting the Lord's name is Ananda Rupam, pure bliss, because it makes ecstasy rise in the heart. Chanting the holy names is also Ananda Rupam, in the sense that it is the essence of ecstasy and it makes everything it touches aesthetic. In this verse, the author again repeats the exclamation Jayati, including the Harinam, the name of the Lord, is the greatest manifestation of the Supreme Lord's attractiveness and mercy. One who realizes the value of Harinam will choose to rely on chanting Harinam rather than on other kinds of spiritual efforts. Performing prescribed duties within the Varna ashram system is troublesome. Persons who have lost interest in the ritual duties of Varna ashram cultivate yogic meditation, either for impersonal perfection or as a means of devotional service. But in either case, this too is troublesome because it involves the difficulty of subduing the mind and senses. Subduing the mind and senses. Worship of the deity of the Lord is troublesome because the worshipper must purify all the items to be offered and his own body and heart as well. And also troublesome are the other devotional practices, such as hearing, which can be correctly performed only after one fulfills difficult prerequisites, such as finding a suitably qualified Vaishnava to hear from. Therefore, putting aside concern about success in these methods, an intelligent devotee will simply focus his attention on Hari Nam, and thus he will easily achieve the results of all the above methods. Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila, confirms this in her prayer to her son. Aho bata swa pacho tu gariyan yaj jivagre vartate nama tubhyam tepas tapas te juhuvo sanur arya brahmanuchur nama granti yete. Oh, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name! Even if born in the families of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed in holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. Bhagavatam 3.33.7. Similarly, in Sri Vishnu Puran, we find the following statement. Dhyayan krite yajan yagyas tretayam dvapare archaryan yad apnoti tad apnoti kalau sankirtya keshavam. What was accomplished in the Krita age by meditation, in the Treta age by ritual sacrifices, and in Dwapar age by worship of the deity of the Lord is accomplished in this Kali age by loud chanting of the names of Keshava. A doubting person may question the ease of success by Harinam. One might earn religious credit, economic success, and material enjoyment by Harinam, he might say. But liberation is something else. Liberation can be gained only by those who are spiritually fit. At best, devotees who chant Harinam with perfect faith and devotion may achieve liberation through long practice. Srila Sanatana Goswami refutes this doubt, declaring here that if any living being even once chants Lord's Hari's name, even unintentionally or in ridiculed jest or material distress, the holy name will surely grace that person with liberation. This chanting may be performed without true realization. It may be a mere reflection or shadow, namabhas, but still it will result in liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam confirms this again and again. Etavatalam agha nirharanya pumsa sankirtanam bhagavato guna karma namanam vikrushya putram aghavan yad ajamilopi Narayaneti Mriyamana Ayaya Muktim. One is easily relieved from all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name of the Lord and chanting of his qualities and activities. This is the only process recommended for relief from sinful reactions. Even if one chants the holy name of the Lord with improper pronunciation, one will achieve relief from material bondage if one chants without offenses. Ajamil, for example, was extremely sinful, but while dying, he merely chanted the holy name. And although calling his son, he achieved complete liberation because he remembered the name of Narayan. Bhagavatam 6.3.24. Chitram Vidura Vighata Sakrad Adadita Yan Namadeyam Adhuna Sa Jahati Vandham. It is amazing that even a person beyond the jurisdiction of the four castes, in other words, an untouchable, is immediately relieved of bondage to material existence if he utters the holy name of the Lord even once. Bhagavatam 5.1.35. Yan nama sakrich charavan charavanat pukhasho pi vimuchete samsarat. Merely by hearing the holy name of your Lordship only once, even Chandals, men of the lowest class, are freed from all material contamination. Bhagavatam 6.16.44. The Prabhasha Khand of the Skand Puran also states, Madhura Madhuram Etan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakala Nigama Vali Sat Phalam Chit Swarupam Sakrit Api Parigitam Shraddhaya Helaya Va Vrigu Varanara Matram Tatrayet Krishna Nama. Oh, best of the
Tarayet,
Vrigu
actually, Tarayet.
Tarayet. Yes, thank you. Sorry, Prabhuji. And please excuse me for my not so correct pronunciations also. I'm very sorry. Yes. The best of the Bhrigu dynasty, the holy name of Krishna, is the sweetest of the sweet and the most auspicious of the auspicious. It is the transcendental fruit of all the Vedas and is purely spiritual. Whoever chants it but once, whether with faith or with contempt, is liberated. Although we normally think of chanting as being the business of the tongue, all of one's conscious faculties can be engaged with Harinam. The mind can contemplate the syllables of the Lord's name and their meaning, and the external senses can interact with Harinam, each in their own way. Speech and hearing are obviously involved in Harinam, but the sense of touch can also feel the name written on sacred clay on one's body. The eyes can see the name written in various places. The hands and legs can work to carry a banner inscribed with the name, and so on. At the end of this verse, Srila Sanatan describes his own relationship with Harinam. It is everything to him. Nothing else is important. For him, Harinam is the nectar of immortality, the happiness of true liberation. Countless times greater than the satisfaction of impersonal mukti, Harinam is also greater than the bliss of Vaikuntha. It is sweeter than all other attractive things. It is Sanatana Goswami's very life and only ornament, a limitless reservoir of auspiciousness, the entire focus of his attention. Nama Shri Krishna Chandraya Nirupadhi Kripa
Namaha. Namaha Sri Krishna Chandraya.
Namaha Shri Krishna Chandraya Nirupadhi Kripa Krite Yaha Shri Chaitanya Rupo Abhut Tanvan Prema Rasam Kalau. I bow down to Sri Krishna Chandra, the bestower of unconditional mercy. In the modern age, he has appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to distribute the taste of pure love. To conclude his Mangalacharan invocation, Srila Sanatana Goswami offers respects to his worshipable deity, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the first spiritual master of the Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Lord Chaitanya dispenses his causeless mercy to all living entities, whether they deserve it or not. He distributes the taste of rasa, intimate emotional exchanges between God and his devotees, the rarest commodity of the spiritual world. Very few persons in the material realm know what rasa is. Among the varieties of rasas in the spiritual world, the rasa found at the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most precious and exquisite. It should therefore be extremely difficult for anyone in the modern world to obtain. But Lord Chaitanya, being supremely compassionate, gives away this rasa to unappreciative, reluctant, conditioned souls. Intelligent and fortunate persons will accept his mercy, voluntarily serving his Sankirtan mission. Text 11. Bhagavad Bhakti Shastranam
Shastranam.
Shastranam Ayam Sharasya Sangraha.
I'll read it, Mataji.
Yeah,
Bhagavad Bhakti Shastranam Ayam Sarasya Sangraha Anubhutasya Chaitanya Deve Tat Priya Rupataha.
thank you, Prabhuji. This book collects the essence of the scriptures teaching devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord. These essential teachings I have personally realized under the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I received them from his dear devotee Sri Rupa. Having praised Lord Krishna, his best devotees, his personal abode, and his devotional service, Srila Sanatana Goswami now introduces the theme of his book. Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita is not speculative fiction or fantasy. It is authoritative because it distills from the Vedic literature the essential teachings that describe the pure science of rendering loving service to the Supreme Person. Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita sometimes quotes scriptural texts directly, sometimes interweaves selected phrases and words, and sometimes paraphrases to express scriptural ideas. The author, Srila Sanatana Goswami, an unalloyed devotee with no material motives, has fully realized the science of Prema Bhakti. He has expertly molded the presentation in elegant poetry transparently without superfluous impositions of his own. In trying to translate and explain this great work in English, and in trying to understand it properly, we can only pray to Srila Sanatana Goswami for the spiritual strength to carry out in good faith our respective responsibilities as translators and readers, and as readers. How has Srila Sanatan been able to collect the gist of many devotional scriptures under one title? For years, he diligently engaged his mind in studying many scriptures and engaged his heart in devotional meditation. He conducted this outward and inward research under the compassionate guidance and protection of the Lord of Consciousness, Chaitanya Deva, Krishna's expansion as the Supersoul, Sri Vasudeva. Srila Sanatana Goswami imbibed the full mercy of Lord Vasudeva by meditating upon him and actively serving him in his transcendental activities as the Supreme Person, Sri Krishna. Nandanandana, who enjoys playing his flute and whose charming body bends in three places, by the causeless mercy of Sri Krishna, one can successfully fix one's attention on him and with higher vision see for oneself the purports of all revealed knowledge. An alternative and more confidential understanding of Chaitanya Dev and Tat Priya Rupataha is that Lord Krishna is now conducting his Sankirtan mission as a son of Sachidev. One obtains his complete mercy by meditating intensely on his all-attractive golden form, Priya Rupa, which is dressed in the saffron of a sannyasi, or Tat Priya Rupataha, may refer to Sri Rup Goswami, the very dear servant of Lord Chaitanya and devotional co-worker of Sri Sanatana. Although Sri Rup considered his elder brother Sanatan his spiritual master, here Srila Sanatan credits Rup Rupa with helping him find his way on the path of Prema Bhakti. One can ascertain the essence of spiritual truth only by the kind mercy of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees.
Okay, so just pause. You can just pause there, Mother. So we saw in the text that we read today that if you perform deity worship, there are many things that you need to do. Similarly, if you want to take up the process of hearing, it is mentioned here by Sanatan Goswami that it's not easy to find bona fide speakers. You know, like today, there is a proliferation of speakers in ISKCON. Just anywhere you go on the social media, you have so many speakers. But it's not easy to find bona fide speakers. So that everybody who has the name tag ISKCON is a bona fide speaker. So Sanatan Goswami himself acknowledges uh, the that it's not easy to find bona fide speakers. So that also has so if we just rely only on the process of hearing, then I mean yeah, there could be some obstacles sometimes, but chanting is something which everyone can do, no matter what condition they are. Everyone can do it. So therefore, what's it uh, we should we should we should understand the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Of course, our process is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was speaking to Ramananda Roy, he said stane sita shrutikatam tanuman manobir san mukaritam bhavadiya varta sthane sita shrutikatam tanuman manobir. So what he said was that whatever position you are, you be in that position. Sanmukaritam bhavadiya varta. Just hear from the great personalities. You know. So that is our process of uh, process of attaining perfection. That we hear Bhagavatam in the assembly of devotees. So Prabhupada said it's not that one has to. So the only qualification for a speaker of Bhagavatam is that he simply has to present what Srila Prabhupada has presented and what the previous acharyas have presented according to his realization. That's all. Don't add something new, don't subtract something new, but present your realization of the same teachings. The realization should also conform with the teachings. So that is the qualification of a speaker. So it is Prabhupada said that is not a very difficult thing. That if one has to speak the same thing that he has spoken and the previous acharyas have spoken. But nevertheless, there is the influence of Maya, which impels speakers to give some creative insight which may not be bona fide, or so many different things. It's just Maya is too strong. That the moment you give someone a mic, they think I have to prove myself. I have to tell some story which nobody has ever heard before. Now, there are so many things I've seen, but this is not the qualification for speaking on the Bhagavatam or Prabhupada's teaching. It's just one should be very satisfied just presenting what Prabhupada has presented, what the acharyas have presented. One should simply be satisfied with that. They say, as Prabhupada often says, bus. No, but so therefore, it's not that every speaker you hear follows that principle. So unless you are well versed in the scripture, you may not know sometimes what the difference is. So, however, the process of chanting the holy names, that anyone can do at any place. So that is not dependent on something else. The benefit of hearing is dependent on who is speaking, but the benefit of chanting is just dependent only on you, only on us. So that is one of the points which we heard previously Sanatan Goswami mentioning. And then we also see how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to distribute rasa. So what does it mean, distribute rasa? uh, uh, we are able to the descriptions of the relationship between Krishna and his devotees. The taste was given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is what is being explained. What does it actually mean? It means that we may not be able to we may not be able to how do you say? to taste or drink fully from it. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us a taster, okay, here, taste this. He's giving us a spoon of it. Okay, taste this and see. So that's what it means, that he distributed Krishna Bhakti Rasa freely, even to people who are unqualified. So everybody can taste that Krishna Bhakti Rasa, and having tasted that Krishna Bhakti Rasa, one can continue in one's pursuit of Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Okay, these are some of the things that I thought about. If there are any questions, comments, reflections. Yes, Jyoti, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances.
Yes.
Prabhuji, like how it has mentioned the Hari Nam, like so chanting, how it is like better, like as compared to hearing and other processes. So, does it mean to chanting? Does it refer to chanting or it refers to pure chanting?
It was explained by Sanatan Goswami here. We see that even offensive chanting can bring revelation. Namabas can also give you liberation. So it is very powerful. It's very powerful.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
But that does not mean that we can give up the process of hearing. We just have to hear from the right sources. That is important. But we cannot give it up. But what Sanatan Goswami is trying to say is hearing is dependent on whom we are hearing from. But chanting is dependent only on yourself. So just because it's dependent on whom we are hearing from doesn't mean that we can give up the process. That is not what is being said here. He's just speaking about the glory of chanting because it's not dependent on anything else. That's all. So there is something called dependency. There's something called necessities. So we have to. It is necessary for us to hear Bhagavatam and things. I mean, hear from the devotees. It's a necessity. It's not that it's optional. But what Sanatan Goswami is focusing is on the dependency. That is the context in which he's speaking about. It's not dependent. So how important it is because it's not dependent. That's all.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah. I mean, how important? I mean, sure, Shravanam is also important, but how glorious it is because it is not even. It's not dependent. It's just how easy it is because it's up to you. Yeah, that's the idea. Yes, Rukmini Harisan Mataji.
Yes, sir, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there are very two beautiful Sanskrit terms showing on the screen, Priya Rupa and Tat Priya Rupa. Priya Rupa is for, so if you can tell something little bit.
Can you just scroll up the screen a little bit, Mataji? Okay. So can you just read that paragraph? Yeah.
From here, Prabhuji?
Yeah.
The,
No, that paragraph which
that
you,
paragraph?
yeah, just a
An,
paragraph.
an alternative and
Yeah.
more confidential understanding of Chaitanya Dev and Tat Priya Rupata is that Lord Krishna is now conducting his Sankirtan mission as the son of Sachidev. One obtains his complete mercy by meditating intensely on his all-attractive golden form, Priya Rupa,
So
which
that
is,
means, so that Priya Rupa there refers to is all attractive golden form. Yes.
yeah, which is dressed in the saffron form of a sannyasi. Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Oops, sorry. Or Tat Priya Rupa may refer to Sri Rup Goswami, the very dear servant of Lord Chaitanya and devotional co-worker of Sri Sanatan. Although Sri Rup considered his elder brother Sanatan his
Okay,
spiritual
one
master.
sec. So basically, Tat Priya Rupa could refer to his attractive golden form. Tat means his attractive golden form. Tat Priya Rupa. So his attractive golden form. Or Tat could refer to his dear Rupa Goswami. Tat Priya Rupata. His dear Rupataha refers to Rupa Goswami. So that is how you read that combination of words. Yeah. Tatpriya Rupata means his attractive, Priya Rupa, his attractive golden form, or his dear uh, Rupa Goswami. Okay, I think she said
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Okay, all right. All right. If there are no further questions, we can continue.
Text 12. Shrinvantu Vaishnavaha Sasritam
No, okay, I'll
Idam
read it, Bhagi. I'll
Bhagavad.
read it. I will read it. Can you just scroll up a little bit? Yeah. Shrinvantu Vaishnavaha Shastram Idam Bhagavatamritam Su Gopyam Prahayat Premna Jaiminir Janame Jayam.
May the Vaishnavas kindly hear this confidential scripture, Sri Bhagavatamrita. Jaimini Rishi spoke it to King Janma, Jan,
Janame Jaya.
Janamejaya,
Janame Jaya. Yeah.
Janamejaya in the enthusiasm of pure love. Unlike books of fiction, this book carries the authority of revealed scripture. Its purpose is not to entertain the readers or edify them with some pious ethical message, but to teach the highest principle of spiritual life and to help those who faithfully read it enter the path of absolute perfection. The name Bhagavatamrita is appropriate because this book consists of the most relishable essence, Amrit, of revealed texts concerning devotion to the Supreme Lord, Bhagwan. Gradually, we shall see more clearly how appropriate this name is. Sri Sanatan Goswami says that only the Vaishnavas, the devotees of God, should read this book because others will misunderstand it. He says this out of compassion for the non devotees because persons who have no taste for the personal service of Lord Vishnu have impure hearts. Most likely, they will disbelieve what is spoken here and react offensively. Furthermore, although the term Vaishnava technically refers to anyone initiated into the worship of the Supreme Lord, in its present context, the word Vaishnava refers to a more restricted group, the devotees who know the taste of devotional reciprocations and are eager to enjoy the nectar found at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, the darling son of Nanda Maharaj.
This is a very important point. Why we don't preach to the, I mean, like, we don't explain the glories of the holy name to non-devotees? We don't discuss confidential topics with them. I mean, intricate topics about bhakti with them because uh, they have Can you just scroll up? It says Prabhupada saying very clear. Sorry, Gopi Pradhan Prabhu is saying very clearly here that because persons who have no taste for the personal service of Lord Vishnu have impure hearts. So uh, without having a pure heart, one cannot have a taste for the personal service of Lord Vishnu. And if one does not have have a taste for the personal service of Lord Vishnu, they will disbelieve what is spoken and react offensively. So without pure hearts, because people are not pure hearted, if they have no pure hearts, obviously they will not also have taste for the personal service of Lord Vishnu. I mean, take it the other way around. Like a person who's got a taste for the pure service of Vishnu has got pure heart. So these two things go together. So if a person has impure heart, it doesn't mean that uh, impure heart in this context, it is referring to the non-devotees. We also have impure hearts. It's not that we don't have. We also have pure hearts. When it says no taste for the personal service of Lord Vishnu, have impure hearts means it is the desire in their heart for sense gratification. That is what it means by when it says here impure hearts. Not like us, we also have impure hearts, but we have a desire to serve the lotus feet of Krishna. We have a desire which to follow the Srila Prabhupada and the previous Acharya. So because of that, although our heart is technically impure, it's not considered impure. you know. So because of which we also have some taste also for personal service to Lord Vishnu. So when it says they have no personal taste for personal service to Vishnu due to their impure hearts, it means that that impurity refers to a heart which if they don't have a desire, they don't also have a taste. That's what it is. Like, how did our desire develop? How did our desire develop? Like Prabhupada says, thinking, feeling, willing, right? So we heard from the pure devotee. We heard from Srila Prabhupada's books. So that hearing from Srila Prabhupada's books created a desire for the personal service of the Lord. And acting on that desire, even though we have impure hearts, we have developed some taste. This is the reality. So it is the desire for the personal service of Lord Vishnu which has purified our hearts and which has provided us a taste. So everything starts with desire. One has to come to the stage of desiring the personal service of the Lord. But desiring personal service, desiring to serve the Lord. I mean, you could serve the Lord can have various levels of desires, but at least the basic desire that I want to serve the Lord creates the purification of heart, and by the strength of that desire, one also has some taste. But the desire is implanted in our hearts by Srila Prabhupada. That is the point. So here, when it says they have no taste for personal service of Lord Vishnu, which means that they don't have a desire to serve Vishnu. That's all. That's what it means. So that impure heart here in that context means they don't have a desire to serve Vishnu. And because they don't have a desire to serve Vishnu, they will disbelieve what is spoken here and react offensively. Any questions? Any thoughts on that?
Are they referring to the atheists, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it referring to this. Yeah. Atheists, Mayavadis, anybody. It could mean anybody.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
The standard definition of Vaishnava is given in the Padma Puran, Swarga Kand, 31.112 to 113. Sangam sa mudaram sa nyasam
I'll read it,
sa
Mataji.
rishi.
I'll read it.
Okay.
Sangam samudram sanyasam sa rishi chanda daivatam sa diksha vidhi sa dhyanam sa yantram dvadashaksharam. Okay. Then you have Ashtaksharam athanyam va ye mantram samupasate yeyas te Vaishnava loka Vishnu archana ratha sadha.
Thank you. Vaishnavas should be understood to be those who regularly worship Lord Vishnu and chant either the 12 syllables Vishnu mantra, the 8 syllable mantra, or some other mantra of his. They should have properly received the mantra through initiation and, along with the mantra, should have been instructed in the secondary rituals and the hand gestures and bodily markings pertaining to the mantra. Such Vaishnavas should know about the meter in which the mantra is recited, the sage who transmitted the mantra, the deity the mantra worships, the method of preliminary meditation on the mantra, and the symbol by which the mantra is visually represented. In general, we may accept any initiated worshipper of Vishnu as a Vaishnava, or even more liberally, any monotheist, but we can expect only the pure devotees of Sri Nand Kishore to relish much pleasure in reading Brihad Bhagavatamrita.
See, when you read descriptions like this, You may wonder what are all so many elements of what is all
Mantra.
so many things are mentioned here, right? But we don't hear about these things when we get initiated, right? So what does it mean? So here, generally in Bhagavatam and everywhere else, the concept of diksha is always explained in terms of worshipping the deity. Actually, you get a diksha mantra. So diksha mantra is not the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. They always consider diksha mantra to be the Gayatri mantras, that one chants at the time one gets second initiation. That is usually considered as Diksha. So, but what Prabhupada did was he did not he used the he uses the phrase first initiation, second initiation you know so that is the difference so that if you understand that, so for what is first initiation, for second initiation, basically there's a process of diksha which has two different components to it, and so accepting of tilak, here accepting of the holy name, all these kind of things are there. So basically Prabhupada broke that into two parts: first initiation, second initiation. Together it is called Diksha actually, technically speaking. But the second part about accepting a mantra to worship the deity is not necessary. It's not necessary. So Prabhupada said, but just by first initiation, you can attain Prema Bhakti. You don't have to necessarily take the second part. So here, whenever it speaks about, that's why it says there, right? In the verse also, it speaks about Diksha. So this description is within the context of both. I mean, like in the context of both means, of course, chanting the holy names, along with that, worshipping the deity. And the deities are worshipped with certain mantras. Also, apart from that, at the point of when you accept Diksha, there are also certain mantras which are given. In ISKCON, you get seven mantras. Prabhupada gave seven mantras. So those are so when it speaks about mantras here, it is yeah, it is generally referring to the mantras one receives when one is eligible to worship the deity. So you don't have to get tangled with all this detailed knowledge. Basically, you just remember that initiation, Prabhupada broke it into two parts: first initiation, second initiation. And he said first initiation is enough to uh, attain Prem Bhakti. But a combination of the first and the second is technically called Diksha. Although, I mean, we could also say we were the Diksha disciples, but generally the word is initiated disciples. Doesn't matter. I mean, it is a component of Diksha only, what we get in first initiation. It is a component of Diksha. It is not something separate. But technically, Diksha means both, you know. Any questions or comments on that?
So the deity mantra, Prabhuji, is for Nand Kishore.
No. See, anyway, there's a whole thing there that when you
Okay.
do upasana of the deity, you
Mm.
have to recite mantras. You recite. Look at this whole thing. You just read this again. You'll understand. Please read this again. From Vaishnava should
Yes,
be.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Vaishnavas should be understood to be those who regularly worship Lord Vishnu and chant either the 12-syllable Vishnu mantra, the 8-syllable mantra, or some other mantra of his.
Yeah.
They should have properly received the mantra through initiation, and along with the mantra should have been instructed in the secondary rituals and the hand gestures and bodily markings pertaining to the mantra.
Mm. See,
Such
so you
Vaishnava.
see,
Hmm.
they should have properly received the mantra to initiation, and
Hmm.
along with the mantra, should have
Hmm.
been instructed in the secondary rituals and the hand gestures and bodily markings pertaining to the mantra.
Hmm.
You understood? So this is
Hmm.
okay, go ahead. Okay.
Such Vaishnavas should know about the meter in which the mantra is recited,
Yeah.
the sage who transmitted the mantra, the deity the
The
mantra
mantra
worship.
worships. The deity the mantra worships, which means that there is a deity corresponding to the mantra that you're worshipping. You understood,
Hmm.
right? Mantra
Hmm.
you're chanting. Okay.
Yes. The method of preliminary meditation on the mantra and
Yeah.
the symbol by which the mantra is visually represented.
Yeah.
In general, we may accept any initiated worshipper of Vishnu as a Vaishnav. or even more liberally any monotheists, but we can expect only the pure devotees of Sri Nandakishore to relish much pleasure in reading Brihad Bhagavatamrita. May the Vaishnavas kindly hear. Although Srila Sanatan is close to the Vaishnavas, always engaged in their intimate service, he addresses them in this formal, somewhat distant language because he has great respect for the Lord's servants and considers himself unworthy to approach them. The confidential message of the first part of this book will be conveyed through an ancient conversation between two exalted Vaishnavas, Jaimini Rishi and King Janmejaya. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.22, Lord Krishna affirms the sage Jaimini's reputation as a great devotee. Veda Nam Sama Vedosmi. Among the Vedas, I am the Samaved. Jaimini became the first teacher of this best of the four Vedas under the authority of Srila Ved Vyas. This means that Vyasadeva recognized him as an expert knower of the part of Samaved, which centers on devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Jaimini's teachings strongly emphasize the execution of sacrificial duties, but they do so to help materialistic Brahmanas gradually prepare themselves for the higher devotional understanding of the Vedas revealed in the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra. Jaimini is known too for his description of the glories of Lord Jagannath, the celebrated deity form of Krishna, worshipped at Puri in Orissa. Sri Janamejaya Janamejaya, a worthy son of Maharaj Parikshit, was also a pure devotee of Krishna. He had an ardent affinity for hearing about Lord Vishnu and the Vaishnavas. Out of eager love for the personality of Godhead and his devotees, Jaimini spoke the confidential topics of the Bhagavatamrita to Janamejaya. No material motive would have justified discussing such secret matters publicly.
मुनीन्द्राज जैमिनेः श्रुत्वा भारताख्यानम् अद्भुतं परीक्षिन् नन्दनो पृच्छत् तत्खिलं श्रवणोत्सुकः.
After Janamejaya, the son of Parikshit, heard the wonderful Mahabharata recited by the great sage Jaimini, Janamejaya was still eager to hear more, and so he inquired about the supplement to that epic. Here we are told when and under what circumstances Jaimini spoke this narration to Janamejaya. The Mahabharata compiled by Vyasadeva is the history of the pious royal dynasty of the Bharatas. In the only version available in modern times, the narrator Vaishampayana states that other authentic versions of this history were spoken besides his. One of these other Mahabharatas was narrated by Jaimini Rishi to the same Janmejaya, who had heard the Mahabharata from Vaishampayana. Hearing this second version had a wonderful effect on Janmejaya, for it was like nothing he had ever heard before. He therefore eagerly inquired if there was some supplement he could also hear, and Jaimini was able to fulfill his request. As Harivamsa is the Khila supplement to Vesampayana's Mahabharat, Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita is the Khila to Jaimini's.
Okay, what is being
Shrilat is
explained
a
here?
supplement.
What is being explained? Yeah, what is being explained here is that the version of Mahabharata we are reading is Vaishampayana's version. Okay, so there is a Jaimini's version. Of course, these are just differences in, I guess, in the variety or the richness of Mahabharata. So I mean, although they'll not have a different Arjuna or different, the same people, but then it's got a different this thing narration. That's all. So Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So Harivamsha, there is Mahabharata and Harivamsha. Harivamsha supplement to Vaishampayana's Mahabharata. The Brihad Bhagavatamrita supplement to Jaimini's Mahabharata. But we don't have Jaimini's Mahabharata. We don't have. It just doesn't exist on the planet. So we only have the supplement. Okay, you can go ahead.
But Jaimini's Mahabharata, uh,
He heard from Vaishampayana only.
sorry?
Okay, sorry. Okay, so whatever. Not see, there is Jaimini's Mahabharata.
Mm.
Okay, Janamejaya had heard the Mahabharata from Vaishampayana. Okay,
Mm.
hearing the second version had a wonderful effect on Janamejaya, for it was like nothing he had ever heard before. Okay, so I don't know how to put it. Like you have Bhagavatam speakers, right?
Mm.
Bhagavatam is the same narration, but when two different people narrate the same text, it's different. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not that they will speak something new. They don't change facts, but the narration is very different. That's all.
Mm.
Right? Like for example, one speaker, if somebody were to take a course on the Bhagavatam, okay, or Bhagavatam is okay. I mean, basically, Mahabharata set off is a history, right? It was what happened at a certain point in time, but it's
Yes.
narrated in a certain manner by Vaishampayana. That's all. So the same history is narrated in a different manner without changing the historical facts. It's
Okay.
narrated in a different manner by by Jaimini. That's what it means. Take it
Oh,
away. Forget Bhagavatam. Take it as history.
okay.
Take the history where the Pandavas were there, the Kauravas were there, Krishna was there, the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and all the stories of the Pandavas and the Kauravas and Krishna. All of this is narrated to us by Vaishampayana. But the same thing has also been narrated by Jaimini. That's all is there. The
Okay.
same history
Essence
is
is the
being,
same. Essence is the same.
yeah. Essence is the same, definitely.
Yes. Okay.
It's a different narration, that's all.
Mm.
That's why it says, no, it's something which has never heard before. And he was like, you can go up, there it says. You please go up. I mean, go up.
Sorry.
See what it says. Hearing the second version had a wonderful effect on Janmeja, for it was not like nothing he had ever heard before. That's
Mm.
all. It's the same fact, but sometimes you hear, no, I've never heard a talk like this before. Like that.
Right.
Yeah. You can go to the next verse. There'll be further clarification.
Okay.
Shri Janamejaya Uvacha Na Vaishampayanath Prapto Brahmanya Bharate Rasaha Tvatto Labda Chesham Madhurena Samapaya. Okay, please go ahead.
Sri Janmejaya said, O Brahmana, by hearing the Bharata from Vaishampayana, I never obtained the same relish I have now obtained by hearing from you. Please complete this recitation with perfect sweetness. Oh. King Janmejaya preferred the second version of the Mahabharata, the version he had heard from Jaimini Rishi, because it more openly revealed the transcendental tastes of the loving service rendered to Krishna. Srila Dvaipayana Vyasa had presented this other Mahabharata to appeal to the widest possible audience, frivolous women, uncultured men, and materialistic brahmanas. And so, in the course of telling his epic, he had for the most part hidden Lord Krishna's glories. In the Mahabharata narrated by Vesampayana, Krishna usually acts subordinate to the Pandavas as their friend and advisor, rarely showing his supremacy. On the testimony of Jeremiah recorded for us
On the
by Sri
testimony of Janamejaya, recorded for us by
on the
Bharat.
testimony of Janmajaya recorded for us by Srila Sanatan Goswami, Gemini's Mahabharat is, by contrast, a purely devotional scripture on the sublime level of Vyasadeva's later masterpiece, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Sanatan is a transcendental genius, an eternal resident of Golok Vrindavan, and an intimate companion of the personality of Godhead's internal pleasure potency. He can easily perceive anything he wants to in the past, present, or future, including lost scriptures from previous ages.
So it's referring to lost Bhagavad Mahabharata. That's what he's referring to here.
Okay.
How is Sanatan Goswami able to write like this? That is because he can easily perceive anything he wants in the past, present, or future, including lost scriptures from previous ages. Yeah.
Okay. If we have confidence in this, we shall discover in Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita more than the subtle sense gratification, sometimes called nectar by immature devotees. We shall discover our own eternal selves.
Because what he's trying to say is that in people hear the Mahabharata, okay, and they may hear about Pandavas or they may hear about whatever, but they only understand it from a superficial perspective, and they may call it nectar. That is what is being spoken here, okay. But Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it goes deeper. It is not, we shall discover our own eternal selves. That is what he's trying to say. By reading the Mahabharata, you will not easily become a pure devotee of the Lord and all that. Attain prema bhakti and all that. You can, in principle, but it's difficult. So that is what is being spoken here. I hope that is clear.
Yes, okay. Janmejaya addresses Jamini with the word Brahman, which ordinarily means O Brahmana. But here it can also appropriately mean O personification of Brahman, the Vedic sound. The king makes a request an audience has a right to make of a speaker, that the recitation end with something specially delightful. Madhurena samapayat, one should end on a sweet note, is a common saying among connoisseurs of devotional poetry. Here, the element of Madhura asked for is specifically rasa, the aesthetic taste known only between the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees in their various personal reciprocations. Janmajaya's hearing from Jamini will aptly conclude with this rasa, just as a good meal ends well with a dessert like Shrikant.
What a description. Okay, what's it? Any thoughts, reflections, comments? Okay, I just have some thoughts to share. One thing is that we are so much absorbed in the grind of daily life that we forget that our real life, it's like Kopi Paranam Prabhu mentions here, right? He says it gives us access to our own eternal selves. Uh, the point is that um, we are so much absorbed in the external world and in the grind of the external world, we forget that there is an actual world that exists. So Prabhupada gives a very simple example, like how do we know the spiritual world exists? He says that just like while living in this body, don't we perceive there is a body and the soul? We perceive it, obviously, because we can see consciousness, there are feelings, and So even in this material, while living in this material world, we are perceiving there are two different things. There's body and there's also the self. To whatever extent, but we all of us perceive that there is a difference between the body and the self. So then he says that if you can perceive the self in this world, which is spiritual, you have matter and spirit. You are able to perceive spirit, right? So the same thing. So if a world exists which is constituted of matter, and you can perceive a spirit, why not a world? How do we rule out a world constituted of spirit? There is a world constituted of spirit. So he says, just like we perceive in this, you're already able to perceive that their spirit. So if you already are able to perceive their spirit, why don't you accept that there's a spiritual world also? Because you're already perceiving spirit. You know. So why should it be so difficult? That's Prabhupada's argument. For you to accept that there's a spiritual world, you're already perceiving spirit. Perceiving spirit. And the other thing is that, which I brought up just a little while ago, before talking about this spirit and this thing, is that there is a world. There is a world. We are lost in the world of, as Prabhupada says, lost in the world of names and places and things, and all these things are there, but then they are all destructible. But we can also pick up the Bhagavatam and pick up the Bhagavatamrita, pick up these books, and there is a real world there with real people. Krishna is a real person. His associates are real people, and those who gave us all this knowledge, they are not with us, right? They are where with Krishna, so they're not in this world. Are we not interested to know about where are those people who gave us all this thing? What are they doing now? You know, and so those great personalities, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, all the previous acharyas who gave us all this, they're not here in this world. Where are they? And what are they doing? And obviously their pastimes are going on, and we hear from the Bhagavatam what are all the different things, the spiritual pastimes. We hear from the Krishna book, we hear from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we are hearing from Bhagavad Bhagavatamrita. So we should, remember that this is a part of our devotional life. We are not just supposed to be meant to be absorbed in the external world. We are supposed to be absorbed in the external world when we need to be absorbed. But otherwise, we are also meant to be absorbed in the internal world, just like Krishna says in the tortoise. Tortoise, give the example of the tortoise. Tortoise deploys its senses when it needs to deploy. Otherwise, it's withdrawn. And so, which means withdrawn means you're not engaging it in the external world. But there is an internal world in which it can be engaged. And Prabhupada says that Krishna consciousness means it's uncovering of the senses. It's uncovering of the senses. Means that Prabhupada says that if you want to enjoy something, then for example, let's say it is very, very hot, and if you want to enjoy a very cool breeze in a hot summer, so you have to lighten your dress. You cannot be wearing a very heavy dress in summer, and even if a breeze is blowing, you'll not be able to experience the coolness of that breeze because you're so heavily dressed, right? So if you are little lightly dressed, you can experience the coolness of the breeze, right? So like that, the more we are uncovered, the more we can experience spiritual reality. you know so that is the nature of Krishna consciousness, which means we actually are uncovering the senses. We are actually trying to facilitate spiritual enjoyment. That we should not forget. It's not that, okay, we're all covered up and it is all so difficult. No, we're actually, with each passing day, we're uncovering our spiritual senses. We are uncovering our spiritual senses, and we should be eager. Let me uncover my spiritual senses fully and enjoy fully spiritual life. We should be conscious of that. We should be conscious of what we're doing. Enjoy fully because Krishna wants us to enjoy. Krishna wants us to be happy. Okay, any thoughts on that? Any reflections? uncovering of the senses. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Pranam,
ma'am.
Prabhuji.
Yes, ma'am.
Prabhuji, this uncovering of the senses, could you elaborate that a bit?
You're not performing Krishna consciousness with some theoretical idea that there is a spiritual world, there is Krishna, and there are all these realities. You're not performing that with a theoretical idea. You're performing it with actual perception of uncovering your senses. So that should be our understanding, that we are progressively uncovering our spiritual senses. That's why our perception of spiritual reality is proportionately increasing. This is the process of uncovering of the spiritual senses. So we should be eager, let me uncover my spiritual senses fully so that I can perceive and experience that reality fully.
So
Okay.
how can we do that? Sorry, Mataji, please.
No, sure, please.
No, I was just asking, I mean, like, what is the process? Just like the chanting, what we just read, that we are supposed to, uh,
Yeah.
be chanting and use our senses. When we're chanting, use all our senses, like Srila Sanatana Goswami had explained. That it's not just you're using your tongue and your ears and hearing, but you use your other senses as well, like your hands, as if you're inscribing the name of the Lord. And is that the process? Is how we uncover the senses?
See, there is no special process for uncovering the senses. All that I was trying to say was that there is something which is tangibly happening, which we should be conscious of, that which is tangibly happening to us. It is not that we are having some vague feeling, we are having some ecstasy, I mean, or something. It is not some passing emotion, or it is not some something is happening. It's not some vague passing emotion. It is an uncovering of the senses pro- that we are going through. So we are going through a process of uncovering our senses, and this is what we should be conscious of. That's what I'm trying to say. What should we be conscious of? So when we are practicing our bhakti, just like for the very first verse of Shikshastakam, what does it say? Cheto darpana marjanam. So we are uncovering our real image in the mirror, right? We cannot even see. Okay. Of course, I mean, because of the fact that we are so covered up, we cannot perceive spiritual existence. And I mean, we can to a certain extent, but very little perception of spiritual existence and spiritual engagement. Perception is one thing, engagement is something else. So uh, uh, when we externally engage with our senses, okay, in performing devotional service and all those things, that's external engagement of the senses. Okay, but with the external engagement of the senses, the soul, of course, who's engaging the senses? The soul is engaging the senses, correct? The soul is engaging the external senses in the service of the Lord. And by the process of the soul engaging the external senses in the service of the Lord, the soul gets detangled from matter. So which means that it is chipping off the layers of its covering by engaging. That's why it is said that which is the cause of the problem can also become the solution of the problem. This is what Prabhupada always says, right? I mean, Bhagavatam says this. That which is the cause of the problem can also become the solution to the problem. What is the cause of the problem? The cause is this material world. Body is causing us so much trouble, right? But the
Attachment,
same,
engagement.
yeah. So the same material body can be used to detangle yourself also. It's a material world. Body is the cause of entanglement, but the material body can also be turned as a source of disentanglement. Like he says, milk sometimes can cause indigestion, but when it is in the form of dahi, it can cure indigestion, right? So like that, the material world, when material body, when it's used for sense gratification, it becomes a cause for tangling yourself further. But when it is used for Krishna consciousness, you're uncovering yourself. You're uncovering your spiritual body. That's what it means. You're chipping off the layers of your material covering.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
See, the point is not really what is really actually entangling us. Is it just the body? Body is just body is just an external mechanism. What is really entangling us? It is our subtle body which is entangling us. Because subtle body is the source of all the reservoirs of impressions and all these different things are in the subtle body. Gross body is fixed actually, but the subtle body is the one which can be changed. Can you change your gross body? No, you can't. You have to wait till death to change your gross body. Nothing can be really done about the gross body, right? But what can be changed? The subtle body can be changed. Subtle body can be changed. So when it speaks, because even at the time of death, it is the soul is tangled with what? Soul is actually tangled with the subtle body. Gross body also is tangled, but you cannot uncover the subtle tangling because you can uncover this. You can get out of this body and go to another body. Okay, but you cannot get out of the subtle body until you attain prema. You cannot. You cannot. So what the process of devotional service does is that it breaks down the layers of your subtle body, the conditioning of your subtle body. It breaks down that. That's what it does. So eventually, if it breaks down fully, then you don't need to take another material body. That's it. Subtle body has to be broken down fully. So when the subtle body is broken down fully, then the spiritual body is fully uncovered. Actually, the subtle body is a covering on the spiritual body. So that as you break down the subtle body, then your spiritual body becomes more and more uncovered. That's it. And when it has become fully uncovered, then you don't need a material body to inhabit a material body anymore. That's it. It is because you are entangled with the subtle body, therefore you need to inhabit a gross body. But the moment you're free from the entanglement of the subtle body, you don't need to inhabit a gross body anymore. Then you inhabit the gross body just for the sake of service to the Lord. Like Prabhupada and the Acharyas, they come, they inhabit a material body just for the sake of serving. That's all. Serving the Lord in the material world by interacting with us. That is not because they're entangled. Entanglement means entanglement of the subtle body. Just because the soul is in the gross body is not a sign of entanglement. Of course, you could say that this Prabhupada have a subtle body, yes, he had a subtle body also. But that subtle body was fully pure, but subtle body. That's what it means. It was not. It was not. It was not. It was not something which covered his behavior. It was something you could say. That's why it is said that. Anyway, yeah. I don't want to use the word transparent via medium. You could. I mean, it does not affect. It does not affect. It is not like. It is not like. It does not distort consciousness. The problem is our consciousness is distorted. That is what the subtle body does because the layers of subtle body distorts our consciousness. When there are no layers of subtle body, there's no distortion of consciousness. Consciousness is able to express itself fully. So we break down all the layers of subtle body so that the consciousness does not express itself through the subtle body and ultimately through the gross body. If we break down that, then the consciousness can express itself directly. Consciousness, which is a feature of the spiritual body. I don't know if I made it complicated or simpler.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, uh, once we have cleared the consciousness of all the, like you're saying, gradually you chip it off, and it gets cleared. So once you attain that stage when it's completely cleared, then that is the time. That's the moment of that's the liberation. That's the is that it?
Yeah, it need not mean only liberation. It could also mean prema bhakti.
Prema
It,
Bhakti.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It could. I mean, obviously somebody who's got prema bhakti is already liberated. But somebody could
Yes.
get liberation, but without attaining prema bhakti also. Yes. But when
Correct.
the subtle body dissolves, then you say that you're liberated.
Okay.
But it
And
does not mean your perception at that time is perfect. You may not have a material perception. But you may not have, you may have very preliminary spiritual perception, not its ultimate spiritual perception. Depends on what process you have attained, what process you have taken up to dissolve your subtle body.
So it depends if it's bhakti, yoga, or whatever your other process you've taken.
Correct. There, it is only chipping down the, I don't know how to put it. I mean, there the let's say, I mean, specifically here I was talking about by the process of bhakti, the spiritual senses are uncovered. But by the process of jnana and all that, your spiritual senses are not uncovered.
Okay.
Your material covering is dislodged. That's all. Your spiritual senses are not uncovered. No, that doesn't happen for other processes. You understood?
Yes.
Yeah. Your spiritual senses are uncovered only by the process of pure devotional service, not otherwise. In pure devotional service, subtle body is getting dissolved. At the same time, your spiritual senses are also awakening. You understood, right? Yeah. It's getting uncovered. Senses are getting uncovered. That's what it means.
Yes.
But in the process of jnana and all that, you could say that, okay, there are no more material covering, but the senses are not functional. You could say that.
They're not engaged.
Yeah,
They're
you
not
cannot
engaged in
function.
the
You cannot
service of
function
the
with your.
Lord.
You
Yeah.
cannot function with your. This
Cannot function.
is dysfunctional.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas
Prabhuji,
those who attain prem bhakti, the senses have become fully functional, and they've activated from the very beginning of their practice of Krishna consciousness. Gradually, but eventually they come to full activation when they reach prem bhakti. Yeah.
Prabhuji, when we read that Srila Sanatan Goswami, uh, that line where, so was that making, explicitly telling us that they're actually the Parshads, I mean, they were actually the associates of the Lord in the spiritual world?
Where?
Where we read the line about Srila Sanatan Goswami that he could perceive the present, past, and future.
Okay. But I think that the Trikalagnya is not necessarily a quality of only the perfected pure devotee. I think yogis also have that power, I think. It's not
Okay.
necessarily exclusively to this thing because it's a material thing, no?
Okay, okay.
But perception of Krishna is something spiritual. Perception of Krishna and his associates, that is something very spiritual.
All right.
That cannot be perceived by other yogis and all.
Mhm.
Because when he speaks of past, present, and future, it's referring to phases of time in the material world only, anyway. It's not speaking about spiritual world. Because there's no past, present, future in the spiritual world. It's
In
all
the
ever
spiritual world.
present.
Okay.
Okay. So we had a good discussion session today.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
We'll resume again.
And I'm sorry, my reading is really very poor. I'm very
okay.
sorry.
That's okay. You'll pick it up. You're uncovering your reading abilities.
Yes, I'm trying to. High time I do it to perfection.
No, it will come.
Thank you for bearing with me. You're so
Okay.
patient. Thank you. Vanchakalpatarubyascha.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai. Hari Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji.